Today we would like to talk about distributed system lecture 10, the branch first search and construction of branch first search tree. So far we can broadcast from a root at 0 giving a spanning tree, broadcast without spanning tree but again from a root. I can show some leader election on special network, even election. General network nodes in the diameter D. However, can we still without any assumption but unique IDs? So we can do the broadcast without giving a spanning tree. U0 has some information wants to tell every other processors that message C with message M. Additionally, our node must have terminated in the end. No spanning tree is given. The algorithm also construct for spanning tree of G. So the informal description is that all nodes are awake initially. If awake, we just receive message M from other neighbors. Choose one of the neighbors as your parent and let him know. Forward M to the rest of the neighbors. Wait until you want to collect the children. If any, then sleep. If the neighbor informs you that you are at the processor of your children list, sleep. If you sleep, do nothing. The broadcast and spanning tree construction is like the code for you instruct processor UI, I from 0 to n-1. Initially, parents equals to null and children equals to 0. If UI equals to U0, then parents equals to null, then send M to all his neighbors, parents equals to UI. Upon receiving M from other neighbors n, parents equals to null, and then parents equals to UI equals 1 to n, send parents to UI. Send M to all neighbors except in the n, waiting for one round, collect the children if any, then terminate, else terminate. Upon receiving parents from neighbors n, add UI to n to neighbors, terminate. Example execution is U0, U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, U6, U7, U8. And some execution is that everything is null. And let's say you are my parent, you are my children. And I know you are my parent. You are my parent. And I send that you are my parent. And blah, blah, blah. So we construct a tree. Observe the spanning tree construct initially actually a BS tree of the U0 and the beyond the predetermined root, but the previous algorithm decision requires the predeterministic U0. U0 starts and ends the broadcast. Or the processor simply follow wherever the receives information has the originated U0. But the truly distributed may not have the U0. Can we drop this assumption? Yes, we can construct a single branch first search spanning tree and is designed with a designated root, despite the fact that initially no such root exists. Beyond the predetermined root, can we construct the single branch tree with a designated tree, despite the fact that initially no such root exists? We can do that. Or in parallel, the main idea is each processor presents to be the root initiated with own branch first search broadcast. So initially, branch first search can start in parallel to avoid interference. Each root broadcasts the unique ID. But how does the internal node of one or more branch first search can choose to store them forward? So all in parallel. What does the internal node choose what to store them forward? The branch first search, branch first search. There are two main approaches. Okay, store and forward everything. Store and forward only the branch first search of the root. There is a maximum ID. The first is everything. All nodes transmit initially their ID to all their neighbors. Every node receives the root ID message from the neighbor's UI. Set one of these called V, and its parents is the T root ID tree. The response parent ID, root ID to V, forward the root ID to all its neighbors apart from V. Upon receiving parent's root ID from all the neighbors, add these neighbors to a children's root list. So everything there is every processor is the root of its own tree. There will be a non-root node in n-1 other processor tree. has also to place the roots of internal leaves nodes of n-1 other trees. Does this by maintaining for each such trees one parent variable and one children variable. Forward every round all information that needs to be forwarded to every such tree. The maximum prevails. The main idea is that the nodes always maintains and forwards the information related to the single tree, despite the fact that many such trees are trying to evolve in parallel. The trees of the root with the maximum ID from this hearted is preferred. The pseudocode is that maximum B at S for each processor. Initially, parents equals to null, the children equals to 0. The maximum ID is my ID. Root is true. If run equals to 1, the my ID to all my cables. The parents equal to my ID upon receiving the root ID from the neighbors. N, if the maximum ID is less than the max G root ID, then the root is true, then root is false. If root is true, then root is false. If root is true, then root is false. What does this mean? What does this mean? Hmm? 为什么？你老哥叫什么呀？ If root is true, then root equals false. It's weird. MICH 德群 OTHON。The maximum ID is the max G root ID G. parent equals to u belongs to n, the children equals to nouns, and parents to use, and the max root to all the neighbors except those in which are just received to nothing. And maybe you can do that. Initially, we are sending our information to their trees, and we have constructed a local tree, and then we are expanding. Finally, the 17 dominates, and we can do the broadcast, pay the tree construction once, but we can keep this broadcasting that assumes giving the span tree the without giving the spanning tree and the root. We can do the global computation. The root can collect all the information contained in other processors. We can covercast. What that means to the covercast towards the root. Covercast. Okay, apart from that, we're going to see that the processors, once the root has this, we can compute any function such as the min and max, and with the approach to all other processors, we can do the leader reduction, assume that we do not assume additional knowledge. Algorithm we described elects the unit, elect without knowing the ID, the root whose the tree prevails. How can we make it aware that it has been elected, allowed it to determine it? And we can compute the diameter. Again, the most straightforward is that we keep all the trees if every node initiated at the processors, with which shall estimate the depth of DI with the own branch tree. Then the covercast DI to all the processors that can allow the processors to compute the D max ID, which is the diameter. All processors do the same in parallel, therefore can learn the diameter. And the broadcast can be solved giving a spanning tree, given a root and spanning tree, given a root only, and constructing a spanning tree. We can do the election with on a special network, and we can do it only knows the n. Fortunately, both formula can be solved in general net without knowing any of the assumptions. Only the unique IDs. We can parallel the broadcast. Parallel broadcast for all the processors, keep and decide at the end. Maintain the forward only the maximum here so far. Thank you very much for comments.